Good evening, friends. This is the Pharma Duos welcoming you for the Duo Talk show tonight. And we have a very good session today. So, mostly we'll be touching you upon some research activities as well as some other topics. And we have a very good, wonderful guest today, international guest. Actually, he's our Wales alumni. He has done his PharmD post-baccalaureate. He has done a B.Pharm and he has done a post-baccalaureate in Wales, and currently he is a research associate in Fallen University. So wait for his self-introduction. So with that, I hand over to Dr. Satish for his opening remarks. Then we'll introduce the guest.
Yeah, good evening and welcome back to our session. And I'm very happy to meet you again on this beautiful evening in this social platform. And everybody has a question about research. I think that today we can focus more about the research, because in the past episodes we discussed about the pharmacovigilance and getting into a PhD and all those things we had discussed in the previous. Likewise, we also talked about industrial opportunities, many things. So I think that this session we can proceed with some research aspects, how to pursue research in this pharmaceutical sciences, and what are the key things that you have to note when we are going to start with the research in pharmacy. So is it really a worthy thing? There may be many questions. Many of my students also ask these questions. Sir, I completed M.Pharm. Whether I can go for a job or shall I proceed for research? Is it worthy to do research, and is there any professional benefits and financial benefits or more if I completed a PhD degree? Like that, many questions are there in the minds of the students. So I think that today's session will, to some extent at least, answer all these questions of the students in their mind. So with this, I give back the mic to Dr. Shanmugasundaram for further proceedings.
So before we are going into the show, I wish Eid Mubarak to all the Facebook friends and family members. And also, this is a Friendship Day actually. So happy Friendship Day to everybody, all the Facebook friends over there, and all other Facebook and other social media friends and the live friends. So it's a Friendship Day Sunday. So and also it's a breastfeeding week, that is August 1st to August 7th. So that is also a very important aspect. And it's also a Raksha Bandhan. So to happy Rakhi to all the brothers and sisters over there. So we are in a very good occasion, talking with Friendship Day, Eid, and so with this note, I'm going to introduce the guest for the day. The guest for the day is going to be Dr. Arun Katpal. So he's a PharmD post-baccalaureate, and he's an alumni from Wales, and currently he's a research associate. So it's time to hear from Dr. Arun about his personal introduction.
Hello everyone, my name is, as Dr. Shanmugasundaram told you guys, that my name is Arun Kumar Katwa, and I belong to northern part of India. And I started my pharmacy career with a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree in northern part of India, and wherein I, went for my Bachelor of Pharmacy degree in the Kurukshetra University. And post that, I was more interested into clinical pharmacy. So I was exploring my options, where should I go for and what my best options are. And then my friends and families from the US, they told me that, PharmD is the right course for you in case you want to explore further in clinical pharmacy. So that's the reason, I joined PharmD post-bac at Wells College of Pharmacy. I really had a good time there because, the faculty at Wells College of Pharmacy, right now known as School of Pharmaceutical Sciences at Wells University, has a lot of experienced faculty, and they did have all the resources which we needed to excel into the clinical pharmacy. I got a really, really amazing experience back in there. And once I completed my PharmD, and then I came over here to US for my MS degree first. So I finished my Master's in Science in Pharmacy Administration with a focus on pharmacoepidemiology at St. John's University, New York City campus. Then, I started with my clinical pharmacy research, because back in India, it was more like, getting to know about clinical pharmacy and get to know about the coursework. I mean, back in India, it was more, the PharmD was more focused on understanding the clinical concepts and everything like that. Most of the part, it was about theoretical portions coming up. And then, I came over here, and then I conducted a good piece of research in St. John's University, New York City campus. So I, finished my master's in science, and then did complete my research work over there, published, and then later I got a chance to pursue a PhD at University of Minnesota College of Pharmacy, wherein I'm focusing more on pharmacoepidemiology and pharmacoeconomics, and my research work currently is related to finding the safety and effectiveness of P2Y12 inhibitors in acute coronary syndrome patients once they're revascularized. So yeah, so this is what I have for my introduction right now for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you.
So to start with the interaction, so how did you get into your B Pharm? Whether it's pre-planned or accidental, or you wanted to be a pharmacist? What you pushed into your B Pharm?
So talking about my Bachelor of Pharmacy journey, while I was in my high school back in India, it's 10+2. That's people call 12th also. I didn't have any idea about what my career options are, and I spoke to many people around, and I kind of had some interest in medicine and in drugs, so which derived me to go for a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree. And that was not the only thing. I had my cousin studying MS in pharmacology in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So I spoke to him, and I kind of like it, and the kind of experiments they used to do, and all the effects and safe aspects of drugs, I really was interested in them. And then he advised me to go for a Bachelor of Pharmacy. So that was the reason I actually kind of look into this option.
So instead of going to M.Pharm pharmacy practice, why did you choose PharmD postbaccalaureate? Because when you chosen, I think you're the second batch of first batch of postbac. So
Right.
that was new to India actually. At that time when you joined, how did you took the challenge initially?
So talking about why did I go for PharmD instead of M.Pharm? M.Pharm is a good course as well. More or less, I was more interested in clinical pharmacy aspects of it. And then I really wanted to go for PharmD in the US. So I couldn't get a chance to study for my PharmD in the US. So at the same time, that time I came to know that in the Ministry of Education that they're introducing PharmD in India as well. It was 2008 and 9. So I thought, that was a good opportunity for me to go for a clinical pharmacy if I could get that in India as well. M.Pharm was, it was more like industrial pharmacy aspects. I was really not interested in that. So that was a deal breaker for me. I really wanted to go for PharmD, not just the M.Pharm. I do know that there are some colleges providing M.Pharm in clinical pharmacy and pharmacy practice back in India. I did go to some schools, visited there, and knew about the research, what were they doing, and and at the same time, the faculty back in there, those colleges, they told me that if you are really interested in clinical pharmacy, I think probably it's a good idea to go for PharmD. Just wait for some time, and then PharmD was introduced in India, and thanks to Pharmacy Council of India that they helped us with that, and yeah, so that was the reason why I went for PharmD instead of M.Pharm.
So how did you land up in Wales, from northern part of India to Wales?
So back in that time, I was looking into PharmD degree. There were only 7 colleges back in India who were having introduced this PharmD course. So I was first trying in Sri Ramachandra Medical Center, but I didn't have any, I was really not sure how they were, going to take students and what was the process. And then I went there, and the faculty at SRMC, they told me that Wells College of Pharmacy is a good college if you really want to go there, and for PharmD, and yeah, so actually I was introduced by SRMC people about Wells College of Pharmacy because I didn't know about it. And then when I came to school and talked to the faculty, and I didn't like it. So I thought, okay, yeah, this is to go thing then, yeah.
So, okay, so from PharmD your journey in US, that is your MS degree, I think Dr. Satish will be interacting with you. I take a backside and I'll introduce Satish to you.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. How you changed your location from India to US, and how this MS degree is there in US? What is the difference between what you experienced in past about 4 plus 3 7 years you might have spent college education in India, and when you shifted to US, what sort of changes you had experienced? In what way you could able to differentiate these two sort of studies?
Right. So, why did I choose MS? So that's a very good question, Dr. Satish. So back in India, once I got my PharmD done, and there were not many options for me to go, like what should I do now? I'm having a PharmD degree, it's an advanced degree, and um, there are good and bad things, that comes with a PharmD back in India. I think most of the hospitals, if you go into, they don't recognize you. So that was a big driving factor that I should go for higher studies. So after my PharmD, I was recruited at Max Healthcare as a clinical pharmacist. I worked with there for 3 months and learned there, the clinical pharmacy aspects of it. And I was not finding it very motivating for me, that I didn't want to be there, for my whole life, because the challenges were, I like challenges, but the problem is that there were some inherent problems, because nobody recognizes this. It's not a problem because nobody knows what PharmD is back in India. So at least back then when I got it, so people were confused with DPharm and PharmD, and it really worried me a lot that time. Like, what are you gonna do now? I'm not recognized, and then I stopped working at Max Healthcare, and I went to ISF College of Pharmacy for teaching, because that was one of the very best colleges in northern part of India, and they came up with a PharmD course as well. And then I spoke to the director there, and they were interested in me. So I thought, okay, it's a good chance to learn more about, like, what I can explore being at the faculty position. So I spent a couple of years there, and in between I got a chance to go into Taiwan as well. And there I was exposed to this pharmacoepidemiology. Back in PharmD, I was also interested in that, and pharmacoeconomics part of research as well. So back in Taiwan, my advisor, I was working as a research assistant with her, and she really helped me a lot understanding the concepts in a more research aspect way. And we really did a great piece of research over there. And I came back to India and then joined back at the ISF College of Pharmacy, then wrote my GRE and TOEFL exam, got a chance at St. John's University to pursue my MS in pharmacoepidemiology. So basically they call it as pharmacy administration, but you can, there's a flexibility in the US. This is a big difference, I would say, compared to Indian courses. Like you asked me, like, what is the difference between that?
Yeah.
So if I talk about the MS in the US, I had many options, which area I need to go to. Back in India, the programs are like very prescriptive, and the college tells you like what to do. I'm not sure whether you get this many chances to explore, like by yourself. And although it took longer here compared to India getting an MS degree for some students, and I would say it was more independent work and the research focused. At the same time, it was busy and loaded with the coursework as well. And so I learned a lot, different things. I cannot compare both systems, but both systems are very, very different. It's more like into research and getting to know like what you want to do, explore, and advisor. They just help you find what you want to do instead of telling you what to do. So that was the basic difference I found between the education system in both countries.
Yeah. In India also nowadays, the system of education is changing in a faster pace. And past decade, if you compare with the Indian education with the past decade and the current decade, we can see a lot of differences coming across. In higher education itself, now we had introduced a system called as choice-based credit system. Even in
Awesome.
pharmacy also, although the things are very much prescribed, as you prescriptive is told, I'm not denying it, but to a certain extent, now we are also giving a lot of flexibility in the allied papers that you can choose, and all those things are there. But still, I like to know the difference so that it will be an eye-opening for our people who are looking forward to study in US and other countries. They can understand what sort of system they are following. I heard that in MS there are two types of degrees. One is by writing an examination, academic, and the other one is by means of doing some research. You can earn the degree. So which one you opted for? Is there any such provisions in your degree also like that?
Right. So while I was pursuing my MS degree, there were two different part of it, part A and part B. So part A was like, okay, so this is a coursework that you have to take. And if you have some interest, work with any faculty. So most of the people in part A, they are more focused on learning what the course is about. And if they have any research interest, they could do some small projects in that. And the other thing was like, it was a part B, that is a thesis-based MS degree. So in that, it's like more like a research-focused degree. So like you definitely have to take those courses, but at the same time, you'll be working with a specific person, like a researcher or faculty at school, and then you will be going towards more into your research in there by working with that professor.
So I think that you had worked with the pharmacoepidemiology.
Right.
So in what way it is having this importance in the current scenario? Because we are also now facing a pandemic, and we are in a troublesome situation. Is this research will help? Is this area will help us to protect us, or in other way, can it help us?
Yeah, definitely. Pharmacoepidemiology in broad sense is, by definition, it says that it's a study, wherein you study the effectiveness and safety of drugs in the overall population. So basically what you're doing is you are, merging two different fields together, public health and pharmacy. So what we do here is that once clinical trials are done, and then you have a drug approved, and this is in the market right now, and so we don't know the long-term effect of drugs, whether it's safe and effective. So when you talk about efficacy and safety, you talk about clinical trials. So when you talk about pharmacoepidemiology, you come to effectiveness, not the efficacy anymore, and go with the safety as well, of course, as in clinical trials. So what we do here is that we study the effectiveness and safety of drugs in long term in overall population. Clinical trials, we have very low sample size, like in thousands, like 1,000, 2,000 for 1 or 2 years, not more than that. And I bet that there might be some trials, they might be going for a longer period of time, but usually the time period is like 1 to 2 years, and then it's conducted around on 1 to 2,000 people. But here in my current research work, I'm using a commercial database here, and my data set have around 40 million people.
Oh, vast.
So I do that, and I study safety and effectiveness of drugs on the whole population. So no matter what the time period is, I am currently conducting a retrospective cohort study, which is following the patient for 6 years. So basically, I'm starting in 2013, and we have data until 2018. So I'm looking at patients when they are prescribed with clopidogrel, or ticagrelor. What is the effect, whether the drug is effective and safe in the long run or not. So since 1997, we have clopidogrel in the market. It's been extensively used. Until now also, it's like most of the market share is with clopidogrel. However, in 2009 and 2012, and was it 2012 or 11, anyways, so the two new drugs, the P2Y12 inhibitors like the prasugrel and ticagrelor, they were introduced into the market. So what happened was, like, we needed to study, okay, in clinical trials, okay, that drugs is safe and effective, and how, and should we change that practice? Like, should we come from clopidogrel to prasugrel or ticagrelor, given that the effectiveness and safety is very well proven for clopidogrel? So this is what we are doing right now to study whether, for 6 years follow-up time, if the patients are having any, safety issues or effectiveness problem or something like that. So that's what pharmacoepidemiology is about. And I'm sorry I went too much into detail on it, but yeah, answering your question, yes, definitely it is a really very good area to research in, and definitely it can answer many questions which clinical trials cannot sometimes.
So actually in India, we directly, now the current scenario is after Form D or Form D post back, everyone can do a PhD, directly go into research, because Form D is a PhD course over here and it is done. So how about in US? Because I'm talking about the US scenario. Current Indian scenario is Form D to PhD is eligible and they are doing it directly. So what about your scenario? Why you need to, whether you need to do MS or from MS to then to PhD, or directly from post back to PhD is available? What is the scenario over there?
So it's not a question of availability or not. Even if you are having a bachelor degree, you are eligible to get a PhD degree in the US, regardless whether you have an MS or not, or you want to go for MS or not. So why I chose MS before my PhD is a good question. And I really wanted to study my PhD. Obviously, I had a PhD in my mind, definitely, I wanted to go for it. And but the only thing was that I want to get it from the best university possible. So back in India, I applied but couldn't get into very good schools. Like, I didn't want to study in the mediocre schools for my PhD. So another thing is that, I spoke to people here. I have friends and family here, family friends here, and my cousin who used to be in Ames, and he's also in Canada. He also guided me. Okay, so maybe I think it's a good idea to go for an MS degree first, and if you like to go for a PhD, then you can go there. But after coming here, I realized that no matter if you're going for MS or PhD, the time, if you're thinking of PhD, the time going to be same. Because for my, once I got my MS degree in 2 years, I was able to transfer all of my credits into my PhD program. And my time was saved there. I saved my 2 years. So it doesn't really matter if you're going for an MS or PhD. If you go for a PhD directly, you might spend more time. But if you are going for the master's degree and then you're going to transfer into school for another school for a PhD, or you want to stay in the same school, they consider that all those credits for your doctoral dissertation also. So I think you can definitely go for a PhD after PharmD, but you need to know what your options are, and if you're getting accepted into a very good school. I am currently studying in the University of Minnesota, which is ranked second in the country, and after UNC. So I think that I think it's good, and we have all the facilities over here, and I have all the facilities which I need for my research as well. So I believe that if you are getting accepted after PharmD itself into a PhD program, if it is a very good school that it fits your criteria, then go for it instead of going for a master's degree. And or else you can go there and explore what more options you have after coming over here, which is actually great. Yeah, so if you're getting funding or you have funding issues, and I think based on that, I think it's a long issue to discuss about. And if you have any questions, I can personally answer those questions as well. It depends on your preference. Sometimes people just want to get this MS done and then just go. And yeah, so that also comes with if you are just going for an MS degree before your PhD. But for me, it was not a different, because I was able to transfer my all credits and my time was already saved, so it didn't matter for me.
So my next question is, whether since you have done MS, it's just cakewalk for you to University of Minnesota, or you have to do some other preparations to get into University of Minnesota.
So while you are into MS program, you better be work hard if you want to get accepted into good school. So while in my MS, my thesis work of MS was related to pharmacoepidemiology, wherein I assessed efficacy here because I was looking at the clinical trials itself. Efficacy, and I looked at efficacy and safety of anticoagulants in venous thromboembolism. And I presented that work in ISPOR, which is our main conference which we go to when you are into pharmacoepidemiology or pharmacoeconomics or health economics outcomes research. So I presented my work there, and luckily, it was accepted as a best research poster. There were around 2,000 posters there. It was an international conference, and that helped me a lot fetching admission into University of Minnesota. So you better work hard and try to prove yourself, and once you have that, get this on your CV, and then write to the professors, and it really helps a lot. Yeah.
So is your pharmacoepidemiology research in PhD is a continuation of MS or something different area you are touching upon?
No, actually, the pharmacoepidemiology itself, I'm right now studying. During my MS degree, I conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis. So that was more like, studying the clinical trials and merging the drugs together, and a lot of aspects of it, and there are a lot of things goes into it, because conducting a successful meta-analysis is really, really a tricky one. So if you explore our literature in pharmacoepidemiology, every now and then you will see meta-analysis and systematic reviews published. However, when you look into them, there are so many methodology problems which they don't fix actually. So getting a good training in the pharmacoepidemiology at a good school, which that helps a lot. Studying, I can't say that it's bias-free, but it helps you fixing the major issues which you might have because of the associated bias in the studies. So I finished my pharmacoepidemiology work in terms of systematic review and meta-analysis, and that was more like a literature kind of work. And then learned about this, and then I wanted to explore more into data sciences now. So I had my skills developed in a data analysis, and I was really good at statistics. Advanced biostatistics I learned at St. John's University, and which really helped me a lot again. And then I came over here at the University of Minnesota. So here, what I'm doing is I'm analyzing data now, looking into pharmacoepidemiology in broader aspects, not just in clinical trials. So I go into the data and look at what could be the problems which I have learned from my coursework. How can I fix those? And I conduct a retrospective cohort studies, cross-section studies, and prospective studies also. So definitely, it's a very different work from a master's degree, but the discipline is exactly the same. And I do a lot of pharmacoeconomic studies also here, using different softwares like Triage and any other aspects of it. Yeah.
So actually, according to me, for any research, doing a proper literature survey or review of literature is a backbone actually.
Right.
But the current younger generation, simply they Google something and come out with 3 or 4 papers. From that, they start their research, and they land up in something else. But they deviate from the main stream and main area. So, obviously, since you have done MS actually in US, actually in PhD also you're doing it on pharmacoepidemiology in US. What is the scenario? How you people collect the research actually? How long you spend? How much time you spend for a review of literature? Then you go into real research. So that you useful for to do systematic analysis or systematic type of review before getting into a research.
It definitely takes a lot of time. So my work, systematic reviews and meta-analysis, I started learning while I was in Taiwan, not after coming to St. John's University. I already had a background in pharmacoepidemiology back in Taiwan itself. So after coming over here, I started with it, and during my master's thesis, I read around 5,000 research papers. First, I had around 10,000 papers in my research work. So we had access to a software which duplicates, and there was around 5,000 papers, which I really needed to look at. And so there are different aspects of conducting a systematic review. First, you conduct a title screening, whether the research questions what you have in place, whether that particular paper or clinical trial is addressing that or not. And then around 4,500 articles there were. And I looked at the titles first, and there were around 2,000 papers in which I looked at the abstract of the papers. And finally, when I extracted the data, I had only 11 studies left. So you see that it's like a funnel. You extract the data, title screening, abstract screening, and then finally you come to data extraction form. And that is about only the research what you conduct while you are conducting your systematic review or meta-analysis. However, asking your question, Dr. Palani, is about I think it took me at least 1 year to figure out my research questions, because it was not easy to work on, and there was so many published papers and so much literature related to it. Actually, my research question which I addressed came from my PharmD program, which I handled in my MS degree. So while in the I was very much confused. Not just me, everyone was confused at which drug to be used for. So like for DVT prophylaxis, so the enoxaparin, usually low molecular weight heparins, these are the gold standards which you use while in the hospital. And it was a time around 2009 when I think this 2008 or 2009, there was another drug that's fondaparinux sodium, which came to the market. And then what happened was this drug had very good efficacy and safety in the clinical trials compared to LMWH. And then doctors were confused back in a Lifeline hospital, like which one to use from. We don't have any clinical trials are there, but we more rely on our practices because we have been using these products for a long time. So the thing is, that was in my mind, like how do we address this research problem? And then I went back into literature, and I spoke to my advisor. This is what I'm thinking, and I had some background in systematic reviews and meta-analysis back in Taiwan. And then my advisor at St. John's University, he said, "Okay, Arun, if you're okay with that, and it looks fine to me, and then just keep me updated, and if you need any help, let me know." So we used to have one-to-one meeting only for the systematic reviews, like Dr. Shangun Sundaram, you asked me about, what did you do, what the literature did you search, and what the papers are you getting? Is there any research being conducted already that you are repeating or something like that? And those things need to be fixed before that. So it went too much into detail, and I spent around one year for my just coming up my concrete research question and made my plan to come up with the protocol.
Yeah, this should be a take-home message for all the youngsters who are starting their research, because this collecting the reviews and review of literature, it was a very good backbone for the research. Because in my PhD, when my guide gave me a topic on a plant called Astelosia indica, actually it was a nut type of thing where we had to start working on the rheumatoid arthritis aspect. We have collected the research for nearly 6 months, and I was about to start the research in 1 or 2 days' time. Actually, in those days, there's no internet things and other things as of now, and all those things are happening. And we are used to go to IIT Madras, where they used to have a large database of books, journals, and other things where you had to collect manually, because you had to sit from morning 10 to 5, and we had to collect nearly 50 journals every day. You had to narrow it down. We collect the abstract. Similarly, we go to PLRI, where we get MAPA, that is the medicinal aromatic plants abstracts will be there, because that will be on the plant abstracts. So, and we'll be collecting the data from morning to evening and compiling that. And after that, from narrowing it down, you have to collect the original articles actually, because we cannot rely on the abstracts. So we need to go with the original articles. For that, we are, as you told, I have narrowed down from nearly 10,000 articles to 1,000 articles, and my guide to collect all these 1,000 articles, original articles. So all the original articles are available only in National Library of Medicine, Delhi, those time. So once we went for a conference in Delhi, we went to National Library of Medicine and we spent 2 days over there. And I fortunately, that librarian helped us with the staff number he has allotted it to us. So, and we gave all the 1,000 articles. He told us to come back after 2 days to collect the original copies. And out of 1,000, we are able to collect nearly 900 original copies. And we started narrowing down and we concrete research as we did. But unfortunately, what happened was that Asclerotia indica was had a toxin in it, acetylocin, because of the US FDA. Before a week before I'm going to start my research, and all because it's also it will be included in food products those days as a supplementary thing. So in those days, suddenly in 2001, US FDA has banned Acetylocin indica and acetylosic acid and acetylocin, and total my 6 months research was in total waste. Then I went to my guide and said, this has happened. My guide said, okay, it has happened today before starting your research. And if you started your research and after 3 years, if someone bans your thing, then you will be very unfortunate. So you go nothing else, you go with another plant, because we are doing simultaneously 2 or 3 plants research. Actually, we didn't start with one plant. Fortunately, my guide has a visionary power, that futuristic approach. He gave me 3 plants to start with working. So similar aspect I did with 3 plants research, and Acetylocin indica we kept aside. Then we went with Hygrophila auriculata and successfully completed my research. So literature collection in any aspect is a very, very important thing. Based on the review of literature only you can do it. And many researchers nowadays only are realizing the concept of systematic review, because you have to start down and narrow down with the systematic review process, as well as based on the systematic review, suppose you publish an article, then you come to know that this is a narrowing down a particular aspect of research. Then you can start working on that. So
Right.
that is the most important aspect. Now I think, and one small question to you: do you have any specialized software for collecting these journals, or you, in your since you are in US, I'm not aware of what is the procedure over there, because in India we used to get some licenses from some science direct and other things, and we work on it. So in US is similar system, or some other university provides anything for the students?
Are you talking about finding the articles and fetching them, or are you asking about any system which goes into that and
I'm
which
asking about the system, not the searching articles. I'm asking about any particular system you have.
Right. So we did have access to, there's I think nowadays various softwares are available. So the one I used for my systematic review was Covidence. That is like, you search in Embase, PubMed, all those articles, you import those files back into Covidence. And what it does for you is that, you're using different databases to identify your studies, right? So there are chances that, there are so many duplicates, which you will be finding, because the Medline is all, it's available everywhere. You use Embase, you get, PubMed covered in that. And then finally you actually use PubMed as well. So there are high chances that you will be getting the duplicates coming out of those. It's just, I'm giving 2 examples. I'm sure that there are many, like Science Direct and ProQuest and many other softwares, databases you can search the articles from. So what you do is you just, extract data in a simple file, like I think it's called XML file, and then you import that file into Covidence, and it removes duplicates for you.
Yeah. So as you told, this literature survey is a major thing, or a big platform where you are going to build your own research. So you must be very, very, very careful in carrying out the research, particularly the survey part. So what I want to say is that when Shanmusundaram sir is saying about his remembrance about the literature survey period, I also get back to my research days, where I was doing my literature survey for my M Pharmacy. I told that I already in my previous episodes also I told that I was working on nanoparticles, and at that time getting an article about nanoparticles in back 1995, 96 and all, it will be a very difficult thing.
Right.
So only hard copy journals will get to the library, and only few numbers will be there. So even though our library is very strong, our PG library was very strong, but we
Right.
have a limited number of resources there. We don't have enormous. So what we will do means we'll go for Medline search. At that time, Medline will supply only CDs, compact discs containing the data, and the library will purchase these compact discs and store it. And whenever a researcher comes for an literature survey, they will put all these CDs one by one. Till days I remember that CDs one by one they will load into the system, and it will take 5 minutes to read that, and it will give an output. So these are all the articles from 1990 to 1995. 80 to 85, like that. One compact disc will be approximately having 5 years data, and we have to carefully collect it in a disk, and again we have to come back and take print out, and we have to read it, all those things. That was the highest level of doing a literature survey. But nowadays everything is available on the fingertips. Everybody is having that, and thanks to the technology that today we have, all those research very quickly it is reaching you. Today, if you are submitting if a journal is accepting the article, the in-press article is also available on the system, internet system, so that we can find it out, and we can modify our research according using their outputs. So that's a very big advancement. So the youngsters and younger generation who are doing research should also use this technology in a better way to build up their research. So a lot of focus has to be given on literature survey, because that is going to be the ultimate platform where you are going to build up your research. That should not be forgotten. Many researchers think that literature survey is a small part of the research work in the PhD or whatever it may be, but actually it is not so. And from Dr. Arun, I like to know what is the pathway of PhD in US. Do you have any written exam after joining, after getting admitting, whether you have to do any coursework, and whether you have to give any review meetings? What is the course of, if you are doing for 4 years, what will be the pathway you are traveling? How the journey will be?
So in the US, once you are into a PhD program, and there is a specified coursework which you can choose from multiple electives, because at the University of Minnesota, we have a very, very highly reputed School of Public Health also. So most of our research is actually, I told you that we are merging the pharmacy aspect of of the research with public health as well. So we use a lot of principles from public health. So I took a lot of classes in health economics and health epidemiology, and it's like a basic epidemiology, advanced epidemiology back in School of Public Health. So once you are done with some specific amount of credits, which your course or PhD program wants you to go to, and then once you're done with that, then you are going for exams here. So I had 2 different exams. One was related to my courseworks, and one was related to what did I understand out of it. So it was more about we were given scenarios, given the data, and they have asked some questions, and you needed to analyze data for that, and then so those 2 exams, unless you qualify, you don't become a PhD candidate. So once you are a PhD candidate, then you are freely available to do your research work, and this is how it goes in the US. I'm sure there's some universities, they might have only 1 exam, but at my school we have 2 different exams.
Okay, how your progress in the research is evaluated? Whether how they are is it being monitored by the authorities of the university, or only your supervisor will just assess your progress in research?
No, it's like you have a whole committee. So in my PhD committee, I have 5 different members. One is from cardiovascular epidemiology, and she's from School of Public Health, and 4 other faculties are from my own School of Pharmacy. In that, I have identified faculties from different areas. My advisor, Joel Farley, if you look at, he is more into outcomes research. So he does, he's an amazing researcher, man. So he's great. So I'm working with him, and he's an outcome researcher. So he is a very good methodologist, and he knows the topics very well, whether it's pharmacoepidemiology or HEOR, or the like patient-centered medical homes or any pharmacy services interventions. He's the person to go. So I'm working with him, and he is helping me with methodology and finding my research question. And for my pharmacoepidemiology, because I'm working in pharmacoepidemiological discipline, right? So we have a professor at our College of Pharmacy, Dr. Wendy St. Peter. So she is as a core pharmacoepidemiologist. So I work with her as well. And we have our DGS, that's a Director of Graduate Studies. And he's also like, whether it's worth doing it, what you're doing. So that's a very, very important question, actually, to, okay, so what next? What is the marketing message? So if you are producing some results, what does it mean? So those kind of things he handles a lot. Like, he is a very well-known professor in the US. If you look at our website, he's John Schomer. He is really, really awesome. If you look at his research, I have in broad sense, I have a team who has multidisciplinary research skills and research areas. So wherever I struck in my dissertation, I just, with my research, I just ask questions to them individually, not just my advisor.
Whether any presentations you will give in a specific duration to
Right.
show progress?
So once you are a PhD candidate, and then you are allowed to defend your proposal. So the proposal defense is like, it's like hard, like if they ask a lot of questions, and there's a big presentation for 1 hour, and half an hour they ask you questions. If they feel that, okay, this person has done good job, or they think that this work is feasible, and then they let you do it. And then one-on-one we have meetings later on with advisor, co-advisors. We say co-advisor back in India to committee members, right? So I'm using that word, co-advisors. You just go there, ask questions if you have any, and then finally you have your PhD dissertation defense, and that's it. Here you go. Yay. Okay.
Okay. How long will be time? What is the time duration for usually submission of thesis and award of thesis? How much time that usually this US universities are taking?
Submission and award of
degree. Submission, dissertation, and award of degree.
Once you submit, I think that should be right away. I think, if I'm not, I will have to ask this question and can get back to you from my seniors. I think it's around 15 to 20 days, not more than that. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. What about what are the key concepts that are being evaluated for funding process in PhD?
Oh yeah, this is I think it's a very good question, Dr. Satish. So it's not about just student, like if you want to go to a PhD program, it's about college also, like whether college fits you or not. So you have to make it clear in your statement of purpose that what you want to do and how college, which you are going to apply to, can help you. So if you have some research questions and you need some specific guidance on that, if there's some professor you are targeting at, you're going to work with that particular person. In that case, you just mention about that professor in your SOP. And at the same time, you have to tell them, you have to convince them you are a good fit to me and I'm a good fit to you as well at the same time. So if you have conveyed this message in your SOP, and on top of that, you have a CV which is much appealing to them, and then I think it's a very appealing factor. And your research experience, I think definitely, it matters a lot, like what you have done in the past and how that experience can help you excel in PhD program as well. That is also an important aspect to look for. And usually committee members who are the deciding committee to get the candidates in the school, they usually look at that aspects. Yes.
It's a great information. And one more question I'll put to you. And in the global scenario, now plagiarism is considered to be one of the worst thing, and a lot of uh,
I'm,
steps.
I'm, I'm, I'm sorry, Dr. Satish, I couldn't get your question again. Could you please repeat?
Plagiarism. I'm talking about plagiarism.
Plagiarism. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the global scenario, this is going to be being a big menace, and a lot of steps are taken to cut down this unwanted thing. And
Mm-hmm.
in what way, in your PhD work, this softwares support you to get an clear, unplagiarized work?
Yeah, this is it's a very, very big factor. And I remember, I don't know that person. I'm giving an example of someone in our program. He was caught in plagiarism. He was kicked out of the school from his PhD program. So it's very, very serious in the US. Plagiarism is not acceptable at all. So every work you do, you need to see, you need to see if there is any plagiarism associated with that. So we do have access to Turnitin, so which tells you how much percentage of plagiarism does it have in your work. So we use that, and usually it's not a problem. So when you do your work by your own, so usually it's not a problem. First paper I wrote, I have only 1% because of some key words which we use. So when you write your own, I don't think there's a problem. Some people try to fetch some other work, which is not good, and it's advice to newcomers in the field, don't do that.
Yeah. In current scenario in countries like India, where English is not mother tongue, what they do know, the research work will be very good. All the content, all the research will be of very good quality, and unfortunately, taking the text content only, the way they say will be having the sense of others, whereas the whole work is very good. Unfortunately, due to the presence of the text content which is being taken from others, the whole work is being uh, considered substandard. So this is a very pity situation in certain countries, particularly where English is not a language, mother's language, mother tongue. So we should have a lot of science, and a lot of light is required for this research scholars, that they should be given a clear picture about how to handle this text, because if they are
So
doing very good work, and if they
at
are
the US, in the US, every other university, they have writing centers available. So I believe that every university, wherein the research is conducted, should have one writing center in there, wherein you have qualified people who can help you with, and it's not just about those people who are not having their English as a first language. It's it's a problem in here also. People, see, academic writing is very different
yeah,
compared to
that's
normal, write a paper, just writing a blog. No, it's not. So academic writing is very different. So people, in the US also, sometimes they struggle as well, like, who are early in their career, like in a bachelor or conducting masters. So what we do is, even I did that as well during my master's degree. I wrote a paper and went back to writing center and help me please with this, just to, look into it. Please eyeball if you see any significant problems, any obvious mistakes. So, you know, by country, it depends, like, what kind of academic writing it has. Like, we in the US, we have our thesis statement up front in the paragraph. If you're gonna read one paragraph, like this big paragraph, on the first line tells you what is the context you're talking about. But opposite to in India, what we do is we keep on telling everything, about the background, and the last line we say, okay, this is
name of the
this is what
study
I
is.
want to say. Oh, no, that doesn't work here. So I had this habit, when I came into master's program,
That's
because
something,
we did have
because
some project work back in PharmD during my tenure in PharmD. I mean, at the Wells College of Pharmacy. So what happens was, I just used to write in an English style, whatever Indian style we have learned since years, and then here I wrote the same, I use the same pattern, and it's, what is this? This doesn't work this way here. So you have to come up with like, you have to just reverse it. So like, your thesis statement should be upfront. Okay, this is what I want to say in this paragraph. No matter whether you read the next paragraph or not, the message is clear.
That should be conveyed.
So
Actually,
this is, I think you have to learn.
type is
And
very much required in countries like India. Actually,
hello?
this.
Dr. Satish, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
I can, but your voice is very, very low.
Okay.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, please. I'll do it. Okay. Actually, in countries like India, we require this academic writing centers. More, it is required in countries like India, because although the research is very good here, we could not able to publish in very good journals because of the limitations that we have with that non-English speaking countries list. So definitely, this academic writing centers can do a lot of help for the young researchers. That's what I want to convey. Okay, over to Dr. Sundara.
I totally agree with that. All of the universities wherein research is conducted, definitely they should have a dedicated center in which you can go and ask for help, for sure. That is something, that's least you should have in your university. Yeah, I believe so. I have trouble hearing you.
Yeah, one last question, because it's already 1 hour getting over. So one last question, that is, what is the scope of pharmacoepidemiology in US after your PhD? What you want to do other than academics?
So let me repeat the question, sorry. So you're asking me where I want to be after my PhD?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So here in the US, as I know, I'm completing my PhD. I do have options. I can join an academic institute which I want to, but at the same time, we have a lot of research-based companies also, like AbbVie and GSK, Pfizer, and they're doing a really, really amazing job in pharmacoepidemiology and pharmacoeconomics. So definitely, I'm open to both of the options for now. But at the same time, I would like to say it depends on your research interest, where you want to go. Like if you're going for a company, at this, then you might have to work as per their requirement. But if you're thinking that okay, you want to do an independent research, then you got to choose an academic setting. Then in that case, so I'm open to both of the options. If that was your question, Dr.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. It was actually a very wonderful experience talking to you after a long time, because we departed from Wales, and though we are connected with you by various social medias, and you are doing a wonderful job, because I used to follow you and we used to follow us, both in MS and PhD and other things. And initially, you also gave some opportunities for our family students to come abroad and other things. So that time the students are not able to take up due to the academic situation in India. Maybe in future they may get back to you again, and if the same scenario or same type of scholarship is available, you can get back to us anytime so that we can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I while I was there, I tried to connect you guys. So St. John's University, wherein I conducted my MS, my advisor is very close to me, and I believe that they have all the facilities over there, and that's the reason why I thought that okay, I think the pharmacy students back in, or even Bachelor of Pharmacy students back in Wales University, they should have, or if they want, they can come over here for their MS degree or PhD also, because it's an amazing school to go to, and our University of Minnesota is also like an amazing school to go for, of course. So so I'm down to talk more if you need more information, and you're free to get me connected with any student.
Actually, let this pandemic get over, because everyone is stuck up in different situations, and
Sure.
we are with the online classes, online exams, and students are also in a different. We are not able to connect to students in a face-to-face manner, only by online mode, as we are connecting now. We are connecting within India also. We are connecting to the students within the same state also. We are connecting with them in the same manner. So that is the situation right now. Once we get into physical connect, direct face-to-face, then we can plan a proper scheduling. And if we have some offers for the students in that higher studies aspect, that time definitely we can get back to you. So it's nice, wonderful talking to you with your total pharma journey from B.Pharm to PhD.
Sure.
So you had a different phase of life. Actually, you had a different phase of life. That is B.Pharm, then to PharmD postbaccalaureate, then to MS, then to PhD, and you are a research associate, and you have been sometime in Taiwan, and now most part of the time you are in US. So, and in future you are going to settle up there with some academic job or some other similar kind of activities over there. So we, as a Pharma doers, we wish you success in all your future endeavors. And as an alumni of Wales, always be in touch with your juniors and keep doing some good to them always as a mentor. So that is more important. So thank you for the wonderful evening in India and wonderful morning for you. Take care. Have a great day. Good. Have a great day. Tata. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Wish you all the best, Arun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Over to Dr. Satish to give us concluding remarks.
Yeah, it was very interesting to go a journey with Dr. Arun Kumar, who is an alumni of Wales. And it is very clear that if we are serious about the research, definitely this research will be highly productive. If we take it in a lighter sense, it should not be taken in a lighter sense. If you take in any means, if you take in a lighter sense, definitely it will not help you in any way. So we should be very confident upon our research, the things what you do, starting from the selection of the title itself. We should be very, very precautionary, and we should do a lot of research at each level, stating the research problem and doing the literature survey, extracting the methodology out of the literatures, and at every stage, doing the experiments, number of trials what you undergo, and compiling the results, putting upon statistical evaluations over it, and drawing very specific results and outcomes, and publishing the papers. On every step you should be very serious, and definitely that will help a lot for you to reach greater heights. No doubt this research is a very good area where you can show your interest, as well as you can do a lot of good things for the society. The outcomes are really it must be good for the society and the research community. So with this notes, I take sign out from this episode. And once again, I thank Dr. Arun Kumar for being with us for this 1 hour in the early morning of his time. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Please let me know if you have any questions or, Yeah,
and it's a great evening from India and morning from US. And the Pharma doers are signing off for this episode right now. And we'll be back with yet another episode, or maybe with another wonderful young guest from Wales or from some other part of from any pharmacy profession. So let us sign off for tonight. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.